Okay, so 3.7, kind of like in the middle of 3.7 is where we are. Our job today is just for me to help you from 18 to whatever. First assignment of the new midterm is what this is. So there's a 1, AA to HH that you probably don't need help, but I could if you care. There's a 2, E and F that you probably don't need me. But then there's an 18 to 34 where some people probably will. If you didn't get far enough to know that, that's kind of like on you, I guess. Then there's a chapter quiz, which isn't as bad, but you still might need something there. So the floor is open in a minute for questions on this 18 to 34 primarily. Tomorrow's job is a giant vocab quiz, and we could still continue to talk about this 18 to 34 tomorrow. The quiz tomorrow is called 3.7b. And there's 48 vocabulary points. It's like the beginning part of the test that we're gearing up for. But our next several days would be homework today, pretty big quiz tomorrow, practice test Wednesday, vocab test Thursday, problem test Friday. That kills a week. So the floor is open, 18 to 34. Anybody run into some issues on life on this world? Yeah.
32, 33, and 34.
Okay, so what we're trying to do, anybody have an opinion equation-wise? What's the equation that's running our math in the end of this chapter? Yeah, how's that start? Change in Q equals? Agreed. So for 32, they are giving you somewhat uncooperative units because for the mass, you want to know who or who? What kind of unit on mass do we like to have? Either grams or kilograms. So they didn't give you that. What did they give you instead of grams or kilograms?
They gave us pounds.
They gave you pounds.
Like liters?
But a little bit later in the question, they give you a conversion so that you can turn pounds into grams. So we'll have to do a conversion to turn pounds into grams, and that number is going to go in for the mass. Are you okay to do that little conversion?
Yeah.
And if you run into trouble, we'll reopen the book on that tomorrow. Then change in temperature we can do pretty easily. Anybody in the room, how on 32 can we get the change in temperature?
90 minus 23.
Go 90 minus 23, and that would get us the temperature change. So that can fire in there. Then they say 1.85 liters of water. So that doesn't really do anything for B. Okay, so B, what I was talking through was going to get us B, because there's two problems here. There's an iron pot, that's the 2.10 pounds. So for iron, we're going to go pounds turned into grams, temperature change was the subtract, and then we're going to need to look up in a table the number here for iron. You with that?
Yep.
Okay, so that's how part B is called. Part A, we're going to go water. So for the water, we're going to go and have to use this liters thing. And then I'm feeling like they're using a fact there that if they told us this thing. Anybody have a bridge there on the part A? What did you do about the water?
I got there, but I don't. Let me look at the question. See if I remember.
Oh, a liter equals 1.06 quarts. It's a previously given fact and it's in 27. I just used that, and then it said somewhere something about quarts again. And you could use it to change it.
Okay, that might be. I don't think that was their intended path.
So the path I used, it worked.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, you may be right. Okay, but we'd have the same temperature change. We'd have to look up on a table a number for water, but we have to use, we're gonna have to use a number that I don't think we've ever used before. So look at page 60. On page 60, there's a table, and the table on page 60 says water, colorless, density of water is 0.998 grams per milliliter.
Oh, maybe that's why I did it.
So what we're gonna have to do on this 1.85 liters is turn 1.85 liters first into
Milliliters.
milliliters, and then multiply by 0.998 from that chart to turn this into grams. So if you go, how are you gonna get from liters to milliliters? Times 1,000. So the mass would be the 1.85 times 1,000 times that 0.998 from page 60. Then the specific heat, you're going to have to look up for water. Temperature change, we know. And then I'll pause because I have one more thing to say on both answers. Question, you okay on that? You want me to rewind?
Could you rewind and
Yeah.
explain this?
So the 1.85 liters you have to turn into milliliters. So that's going to be times 1,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we're going to take that times 0.998 from that page 60 that we've never used until now, because that's telling you there's 0.998 grams for every milliliter. So this times 0.998, that's the gram count.
Yeah, I get that part.
Then we're going to look up on page, there's a table we have to use for all of these problems with this equation. On the top of page 65,
Yeah.
we're going to look up water and use the calorie. We're working grams now, so we're going to work the number from the left because that's the number for calories in grams.
It's one.
Water. And multiply also by temperature change. You with that?
Yeah.
Did anybody get lost? Want me to rewind to beginnings of 32, A or B? Then here's a curveball at the end. Grams is leading us down a road to what? Calories. So if they had asked us for calories, that would be nice. But they asked us for joules. So at the very end, we're going to have to multiply by, what's the extra credit number I had you memorizing for that calorie joule thing? 4.184. So if we multiply at the end by a 4.18, then that's going to get us that one. There's two more questions, but they're really easy if we can get A and B figured out. But A and B was tough. You okay with A, B so far?
Yes.
C, they just ask you which one was more, so that's not hard. And D, they ask you what's the total, so you just have to add it together. Yeah. Anybody want more work on 32? That's a really good question. What else we got? More stuff, yeah?
33.
Okay, so 33, we're going to take a trip to the Wayback Machine. This is like a question we did on the Chapter 2 test. So they want us to do density. So anybody in the room remind us, how did we do density a chapter ago? What was that equation? Mass divided by volume. So we need to figure out a mass in grams and a volume in milliliters, because they want the density being grams per milliliter. So do we know the mass in grams?
Yeah.
Yes, so that's easier than what that's been sometimes in the past. Sometimes they made us change things into grams. So they're giving us a mass in grams, so we'll divide that by. We don't have a volume at all, let alone a volume in milliliters, but you do have a little bit of information about a shape. So how do we do volumes?
Length times
Length times width times height. What's true about a cube?
It's the same. on
It's the
both sides.
same number. So we need to go 1.25 times 1.25 times 1.25, and that'll give us a volume. That volume would be in centimeters cubed. They prefer our volume be in milliliters. Why is that not a fuss? They are the same thing. A centimeter cubed, or a cc, is a milliliter. So we don't have to adjust that number at all. But we can do the 12-ish number that they gave us, divide by whatever that 1.25 led us to, and that's going to pop us a density. You good on that, Pat?
Yep.
Okay. More stuff, yeah?
Last one was 34.
Okay. So 34 Kelvin is, let's see. Formula, lead. Okay, so A, the how many atoms of lead are there? That's going to be a real easy question, kind of like number 6 was. Do you remember doing number 6? So the same way we were doing number 6, that's how A is just going to pop that answer, like boom, with your eye, no math involved. You okay with that?
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
part of it.
Then the B part, we have no formula to convert Kelvin to Fahrenheit that we've ever learned. So what we're going to have to do is turn Kelvin into Celsius, which we do have a formula, and then turn Celsius into Fahrenheit, which we do have a formula. Do you have access to those formulas and comfort in using them? Okay. Then just pop those 2 steps, and if you run into trouble, we're back again tomorrow. After the quiz, we can relook at anything if the answer in the back makes anybody mad. Anybody else? Any kind of 18 to 34? Does anybody need a path to the finish line? 26. So 26 pounds. We're trying to get from pounds to liters. Anytime they're doing some kind of complicated stuff, I'm going to rely on this as our tool. So we'll start with pounds. We want to eliminate pounds. What can you get from pounds? From pounds to what? Grams. Because they give you the number in that story. Then we want to get from grams to something else. And here's where they're directing you to table 3.2. That's where we were a minute ago on page 60 at the bottom. So on that one, we can use the density to get from grams to milliliters because they gave us a factor at the bottom of page 60. You with that?
Yeah.
Then the final result, they don't want us to stop with milliliters. They want us to get from milliliters to liters. It's just a matter of trying to get the right number with the right thing. Do you need any help getting the right number with the right
No,
thing?
I can do
Okay. And then that should play out, and like I said, if you run into trouble, we'll tackle it tomorrow. Anybody else? Anything on this 18 to 34 life or chapter quiz, or really anything from anywhere? Anything else that I can do? Okay. Can you hit stop on that? Wait about